The sun stretched its golden fingers across the sleepy sea, painting the sky with hues of amber and rose. On the quiet shoreline, where the waves whispered secrets to the sand, walked a little girl named Tia. Barefoot and wide-eyed, she hummed a tune only she knew, a melody of wonder, stitched with dreams. Each step left a tiny footprint behind, but her eyes were ahead, drawn to a mysterious shimmer near the edge of the tide. It wasn't a shell. It wasn't a fish. It was something else, something glowing. Tia stopped, the wind paused, the ocean held its breath. And in that silence, a new adventure was about to begin. Not just any pearl. This one glowed, faintly at first, then brighter, as if it knew someone had arrived. Tia's fingers trembled as she reached down, brushing away the grains like brushing sleep from a dream. The moment her skin met its surface, warm and smooth as moonlight, something stirred in the air. The wind whispered a little louder. The waves leaned in, curious. She held the pearl up to the morning sun, and in its glow, she saw reflections not of herself, but of something ancient, something calling. Her heart beat faster. The beach no longer felt empty. She was no longer just a girl exploring. She was the chosen one. And this was no ordinary pearl. It was the beginning of everything. Her hand, the waves parted ever so gently, like a curtain pulled back for a grand reveal. And from beneath the silver blue surface rose a figure shimmering with seafoam and starlight, the little mermaid. Her hair flowed like the tide, her eyes sparkled with secrets of the deep, but it was her voice, warm, wise, and filled with urgency, that made Tia's breath catch. Tia, that's not just any pearl, the mermaid said, a mysterious smile dancing on her lips. That pearl chose you. The wind stilled again. The seagulls vanished from the sky. Time itself seemed to lean in to listen. Why her? What did the pearl want? What lay beneath the surface of this beautiful, enchanted world she was only just beginning to see? One thing was clear. Her adventure had only just begun, and there would be no turning back. As Tia held the glowing pearl close, the mermaid's voice flowed like a lullaby through the sea. That is no ordinary pearl, she said, her eyes reflecting memories of tides long past. It belongs to someone small but mighty in heart. Tia leaned in, her curiosity blooming like the coral beneath her. His name is Crabby, the mermaid smiled. A poor crab with chipped claws but a golden soul. He lives in Coral Hollow, a place where kindness still echoes in the reefs. Tia's brows furrowed. Why does he need this pearl? The mermaid paused, her voice softening. Because it's his light, the last gift from his mother before she returned to the sea foam. Without it, Coral Hollow dims a little more each day. Tia clutched the pearl tighter, not to keep, but to protect. Something inside her stirred, a promise, unspoken yet unshakable. Then let's go, she said. Let's bring the light home. Held the glowing pearl against her heart, its warmth pulsing gently in her hand, like a heartbeat from another world. She stared at its shimmer, mesmerized. The way it danced with colors, gold, violet, sea green, it felt like magic woven just for her. But it's so beautiful, Tia whispered, barely above the sound of the currents. Couldn't we keep it, just for a little while? The mermaid turned to her, her smile fading into something softer, wiser. Beauty, she said gently, means little when it's not where it belongs. Tia looked down at the pearl again, and in its glow, she didn't see herself, but a tiny crab with tearful eyes waiting in the dark. In that moment, the ocean seemed to sigh. The reefs hushed. Even the fish paused mid-swim, as if the sea itself was waiting for her choice. She took a deep breath. You're right, it's not ours to keep. And with that, the pearl gleamed brighter, not because it was held, but because it was understood. Glowing still, but calmer now, as if it knew it was going home. Beside her, the mermaid watched in silence, eyes deep like moonlit tides, lips curled in a quiet, knowing smile. True treasures, she finally spoke, her voice like the hush of waves over smooth stone, are not meant to be kept, but return to their rightful hearts. Tia looked up, the words sinking into her like sunlight through water. Not all treasures glitter, some guide. She glanced around, the ocean no longer just water and waves, but a living soul, watching, listening. In that sacred stillness, Tia felt something shift, not just in the sea, but in herself. She had come in search of wonder. What she found was purpose. And with that, she stepped forward, ready to return what was never hers to keep. Twined, hearts open wide, Tia and the mermaid dove beneath the surface, and the world above faded into a blur of light. Down they went, deeper and deeper, where silence sang and colors came alive, brilliant corals dancing like flames, fish that shimmered like stardust, and gardens of light that pulsed with life. Tia's eyes sparkled, not with fear but awe. Every ripple whispered secrets, every shadow hid wonders untold. She wasn't just visiting the ocean now. She was becoming a part of it. And beside her, the mermaid smiled, not because she had led Tia into her world, but because Tia had chosen to leap. This wasn't just a dive, it was a transformation. Deeper, the ocean unfurled a dream around them, a coral reef bursting with color, sound, and motion. Neon fish darted like living jewels, weaving through coral castles that glowed in every shade of imagination. The sea wasn't just alive, it was celebrating. Every creature seemed to recognize Tia, not as a stranger, but as someone destined to be here, someone who listened, who believed. And for the first time, Tia didn't feel small in this vast world, she felt infinite. Hand was the pearl, warm, glowing, alive. It pulsed like a heartbeat, as if it knew the journey had just begun. The mermaid's eyes met hers, gentle, knowing, and together they glided through shimmering tunnels of coral, where sea fans swayed like dancers in a watery dream. Tia could feel it, the pearl, the pull, the magic. She didn't know what waited beyond that veil of coral and light. But she trusted the mermaid, and she trusted herself. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is follow the light you hold inside. Glimmered with kindness. From the shadows of a jagged rock formation, a pair of clever, calculating eyes followed every shimmer of the glowing pearl. A sly octopus grinned. Not the friendly kind. No, this one had plans and patience. A pearl that rare, he whispered, each word slithering like ink through the water, could fetch a fortune. As Tia and the mermaid swam on, unaware of the danger trailing behind, the ocean suddenly didn't feel so magical anymore. Because in every great adventure, shadows always follow the light. The octopus struck. With lightning-fast arms, it lunged toward the glowing pearl clasped in Tia's hand. The ocean trembled with tension, a dance of courage and cunning, light battling darkness in the depths. But this was more than a struggle for a pearl. It was a test of bravery. Would Tia hold on, or would the shadows claim their prize? Tightened around the glowing pearl, her voice ringing out clear and fierce through the swirling waters. No, this doesn't belong to us, she declared, her eyes blazing with courage far beyond her years. The sly octopus paused, sensing a power it hadn't expected, a bravery that could not be stolen. This was no ordinary girl. This was a protector, a beacon of light in the shadowy depths. And the battle for the pearl had only just begun. As the octopus lunged again, the mermaid raised her hands with fierce determination. With a graceful spin, she summoned a swirl of ocean magic, water bending to her will, glowing with ancient light. The octopus shrieked, thrown back into the shadows, stunned by the force of her protection. Tia watched in awe, not just at the magic, but at the unspoken bond growing between them. The battle wasn't over, but now they were ready to face it together. After the storm of magic and danger, silence wrapped around them like a soft tide. They swam into Coral Hollow, a hidden cradle of the ocean where time seemed to pause and even the sea whispered in hushes. Jagged rocks rose like ancient sentinels, guarding secrets carved by centuries. Tucked beneath a curling leaf of seaweed, they found Crabby, the ever-jolly, ever-clumsy crab, trembling in silence. "I've lost it," he whispered, voice cracking. My mother's only thing I had left of her." Breath caught in her throat as she looked at Crabby, still curled in sadness. Her fingers slowly uncurled, revealing a soft, glowing pearl resting in her small palm. The same pearl she had found earlier, tucked near the tide's edge, shimmering like a lost star. Crabby's eyes widened. His sobs froze midstream. The world stood still. Is that? he whispered, inching forward. Tia nodded, her voice barely above the hush of the sea. It was waiting for you, just like you were waiting for it. His welled up, wide with disbelief and something deeper, gratitude. You found it? He whispered, his voice trembling like the tide at dusk. He clutched it close, not for its shine, but for what it meant, for the kindness of a girl who listened, for the friendship he never knew he needed. In this underwater world, a tiny crab had found his treasure, and it wasn't just the pearl. The beating heart of the ocean itself. His tiny claws trembled. Tears, warm and salty, streamed down his shell as he looked up at Tia. Thank you, he whispered, his voice catching. I have nothing to give you in return. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of meaning, of connection, of a bond born not from barter, but from love. Tia knelt, her eyes meeting his. You already have, she said softly. You taught me what it means to care, truly care. Because sometimes the greatest gift is being seen, being loved just as you are. Krabby's eyes glistened as he looked at Tia. His tiny heart was full of gratitude, of awe, of something he couldn't name but would never forget. Tia's smile warmed the sea around them. You don't have to give me anything, she said gently. Doing the right thing is reward enough. And in that single moment, more powerful than magic, louder than any roar of waves, Krabby understood something deep. That true courage isn't loud, it's kind. And real heroes don't need medals, just a heart willing to help. The sea seemed to shimmer a little brighter, as if it too agreed. He began to glow, a quiet celebration rippling through every wave. It was as if nature itself was applauding the courage and honesty shared between two unlikely friends. Light danced across the water's surface, a magical symphony of colors weaving together like a secret only the ocean could tell. In this moment, the world felt alive, full of promise, full of wonder, reminding us all that truth and kindness create their own kind of magic. The ocean around Tia and the mermaid began to shimmer with life. A school of fish swirled gracefully, coming together to form a glowing heart. It was nature's silent way of showing love, unity, and the magic that blooms when two worlds come together. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are written not with words, but with the language of the heart. With a tender smile, Krabby carefully placed a tiny, glowing shell into Tia's hand, a delicate treasure shimmering like a secret from the sea. For your kindness, he whispered, this shell sings when you're sad, a melody to lift your spirit and remind you that you're never alone. In that quiet moment, Tia felt a warmth bloom inside her heart, a promise of hope, friendship, and the magic found in simple acts of compassion. Sometimes, the smallest gifts carry the greatest power. With the darkness behind them and courage lighting their path, Tia and the Little Mermaid began their ascent, hand in hand, heart to heart. The ocean above sparkled like 1,000 stars, welcoming them back with shimmering rays of hope. Every stroke toward the surface was a step closer to home. They were no longer just a girl and a mermaid. They were soul sisters, bonded by bravery and kindness. And as they rose through the calm blue, the world above waited, ready to greet two heroes with the light they had earned. Back on the shore, where it all began, Tia stood barefoot in the golden sand. The sea behind her, the sky above, but something inside her had changed forever. She held the glowing shell close to her ear, and from its depths a whisper emerged. Doing good is the truest treasure of all. That's the moral of this story. Her eyes sparkled, not from the light of the shell, but from the truth it carried.